You know, I talked earlier a little bit about the callousness that you see in some of these songs, and I wish I was there when Lil Boo got slumped. In other words, when he was killed, I would have ran his shit over. You know, it's just really cold. Hi, this is Bruce Rivers, board-certified criminal lawyer. Welcome to Criminal Lawyer Reacts. Today we're going to be reacting to FBG Duck Rooga Exposing Me remix. Now, one of the things I want to express here is that I'm not trying to glamorize all the violence that are in these songs, and I really didn't realize how much violence is in these songs, in these pieces of art. It does kind of express what's going on in their community, but the amount of death and the callousness which it spoke of in these works of art is remarkable to me. And it's just sad that some of these kids are 15 years old, and so it's really sad to watch what they sing about and kind of the gang culture, and I really hope this turns around soon. But be that as it may, let's dive into this one.
Got some information that you bitch niggas would hate to know. Niggas talk that shit, but they don't even know who made the O.
He talks about they don't even know who made the O, and they're talking about O Block, named after Odie Perry, and they're claiming that they made the O Block because his gang killed him.
Get paid to blow, fuck around and slide through the O, like I'm from the O. Let off 23 to 7 more. That's how I come for part.
So he's saying he slides through the O like he's from there. In other words, if you're not from there, it can be an issue for safety reasons, but he doesn't really care.
Ain't get shot inside his head, but he ain't make it though. They got so many dead niggas, bitch, I don't know who to smoke.
So many dead, N-word, bitch, I don't know who to smoke. He's saying that there's so many people that they've killed that they just can't figure out who to smoke. And if you remember from the other videos, what they do is they name their weed after their dead ops, and so that's what they smoke, like when King Von talked about smoking Tuka.
I don't know who to smoke, but I'll take Lil Boo to go. Tweaking off the mirrors, I think Lil Steve coming through the flow.
So he's talking about seeing these people, Lil Steve, another guy that they shot, talking about Lil Boo, see him through the smoke. He's just so high he can kind of see them.
He got caught in traffic, Waldo ain't get to finish his status. He on the internet laughing capping, then got caught with added. Fuck your homie dead. You heard what?
So he's talking about Waldo, and he got caught in the internet capping, then got caught without it. In other words, he was not prepared and he got killed.
Couldn't even get close to me. I keep my heater is right by my side, so watch how you walk when approaching me.
Keep my heater right by my side. It means he's always strapped.
Now they chalking up the street for walking up the street. Please stop talking.
He talks about now they're chalking up the street for walking up the street. In other words, when somebody dies and there's a homicide scene outside, they do a chalk outline. You guys have seen that.
Everybody got it the worst of me. That's how it's supposed to be. It fucked around and made 600 change blocks. I'm fresh off a hit. My shit up the clothes, but I got the same Glock.
So he's talking about being fresh off a hit. I'm going to switch up the clothes, but I got the same Glock. In other words, he's going to get rid of the evidence if he had anything on him, but he's going to keep the same gun. And we've talked about self-snitching before. This can be used against you. I don't know why you would get rid of the clothes and not get rid of the Glock. Because if you've got the Glock and you get busted with that, that's better than the clothes. Because they can do ballistics and match the gun up to the gun that killed whomever.
You know what it is. We coming for more, man. Shoot up the same block. Didn't even mention it too. I fuck around singing the meter. I wish I was right there when Lil Boo got slumped. I would have ran this shit over. Hold on.
You know, I talked earlier a little bit about the callousness that you see in some of these songs, and I wish I was there when Lil Boo got slumped. In other words, when he was killed, I would have ran his shit over. You know, it's just really cold.
His ass with the back of the heat. Stello got hit from the back of the seat. Damn, the back of the seat. He tried to get up from the back of the seat. They left his head in the back of the seat.
He was killed in the back seat of a car, and if you remember the scene from Pulp Fiction, probably looked something like that.
Tom got you flipping shit. What? A burger? Where y'all purses? Man, you niggas went and died y'all here on purpose. But what?
This is clearly a beef versus beef. In other words, this audience is really the other gang, and he's talking about them being effeminate for dyeing their hair. Talking about Lil Durk and King Von.
My blick on me, got my stick on me. Back the fuck up. Are you?
In other words, I got my stick on me, I got my blick on me. In other words, I'm strapped back the fuck up. You know how this is gonna end.
Assholes on you goofy ass nigga.
And Mimo, stop wearing that fake ass shit out your daddy, man.
So when you see them openly talking about all these different homicides, it's remarkable. And it's remarkable how many people put stuff on social media. I've had carjackings and all kinds of other cases where people put, like, you know, money and guns and right after a carjacking, and you know, whenever you do that on Snapchat or on Facebook or whatever, there's a time and stamp, there's a date stamp, and there's also in the metadata of those photographs geographic location. You've got GPS data on there. So it never ceases to amaze me what people put on social media and how they self-snitch, because I've had cases where if they wouldn't have done that, we would be able to walk. Or they'd been able to walk. So it's just remarkable to look at the callousness and put this out there. You know, you contrast this with other videos like the last one we did, where it's really more of reflecting on what's already happened as a victim of a shooting, as opposed to we're the killers. So these are just my thoughts, and they're the thoughts coming through the mindset of a criminal defense lawyer. So just remember, we are on Twitter, and we'll kind of tell you what's coming up on Twitter, so make sure you follow us on Twitter, subscribe, and if you get on Patreon, we just did a shout out to one of our Patreon members on the last video, so we'll do whatever we can to kind of honor your content requests, and we'll see you next time.